Okay, welcome to the last two problems on the review packet. So we're just going to go through and should be pretty easy to do. At least the first one, not a problem. It's the same idea that we have before in terms of factoring things completely and finding zeros from the calculator and so on and so forth. So here's our polynomial. P of x equals x to the fourth minus 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 8x plus 4. All right, 5 terms, fourth degree. We're looking for 4 zeros, 4 linear factors, so on and so forth. So if I look at my calculator, I only see 1 0 because when I look at this graph, it bounces off the x-axis at 1. And so I say, okay, well, that's going to be kind of tough. I can't group. I can't factor. I don't know anything else about that. So I'm going to hope that 1's a double zero. Because it bounces, I know it is at least a double zero. It could be a fourth degree zero or a multiplicity of 4. But we're going to just use it for 2 and see where it goes from there. So by looking at the graph, we know 1 is a 0. All right, and we think that it's a multiplicity of 2. So I'm going to put times 2 there just for that. All right, if 1 is a 0, x minus 1 is a factor. All right, and we're going to use that to our advantage here. So we're going to say equals x minus 1. How do we figure out what goes in the parentheses? Synthetic division. So write down the coefficients. 1, negative 2, 5, negative 8, and 4. We're not missing any terms, so that's a good thing. Skip a line, draw a line. Bring down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Add down, we get 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Add down, we get negative 4. And then 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. So we get a 0 here. Zeros are good. Homer's happy. And that means that x to the third minus x squared plus 4x minus 4 goes in the parentheses. Now this looks like we could group it, but since I know 1's a double zero, I'm just going to do it again. Alright, I'm going to say x minus 1 for the first one, and I'm going to say x minus 1 again because it's a double zero. So let's just do synthetic division one more time and get that quadratic in there. So skip a line, draw a line. Our coefficients for this polynomial are already right here because that's where they came from. Bring down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 1 and 1 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. And then we get 0 again. That is, again, very, very good. That means the quadratic that we're left with is x squared plus 4. Now, normally we can't factor that, but because we know about complex numbers, we can factor it. We can say this is x minus 1. We can say this is x minus 1. And we can say that this is x minus 2i and x plus 2i. That easily gives us our zeros of x equals 1, 1, 2i, and negative 2i. This right here we don't really have to write twice, but we could write 1 with a multiplicity of 2. And then we could say plus or minus 2i. And that right there is our zeros. Alright, so hopefully you're getting the hang of it now. We look at the graph, we find a 0, we do synthetic division until we get it down to a quadratic. When you get down to a quadratic, then you need to either factor or use a quadratic formula. Alright, and now on to the last problem. This one here, we're looking for a fourth degree polynomial. That means we're going to have 4 zeros. Okay, once we know we have 4 zeros, we're good to go. But it only gives us 2 zeros, 3i and negative 1. And then it says negative 1 is a 0 with a multiplicity of 2. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, my zeros are negative 1. Since it's a multiplicity of 2, I'm going to write it again, negative 1. And then it says 3i is a 0. And there's a complex zero theorem that says if 3i is a 0, then negative 3i is a 0 because they're complex conjugates. So now I have 4 zeros. Now, from there, I can use the factor theorem, and I can say my factors are x plus 1, x plus 1, x minus 3i, and x plus 3i. Okay? When I then need to find the polynomial, I'm just going to FOIL these. When I FOIL these two, I get x squared plus 2x plus 1. Nice quadratic trinomial. And when I FOIL these two, I actually get x squared plus 9. I'm not showing all the steps, but that's what I get. Now let's distribute and let's finalize this problem. X to the fourth when I go from here to here, plus 9x squared when I go from here to here. Then I got 2x times x squared, which is 2x cubed. Then 2x times 9, which is 18x. And then I got x squared, and then I got 9. Finish the problem by combining like terms, and I get x to the fourth plus 2x cubed plus 10x squared plus 18x plus 9. And that right there is my polynomial. I'll even call it p of x, with zeros of -1, multiplicity of 2, and 3i and -3i. So I've solved the problem, I've shown all the zeros, and we've gone through and done all the review problems. If you have other questions, take a look at anything from 3.1 through 3.5. Again, the biggest thing is finding those zeros. Find 1 from the graph or 2 from the graph. Do synthetic division. Show those factors as you're going through. And then, yeah, we'll just keep going until you get them all. All right, so good luck. Happy studying. If you have any questions, I'll talk to you on Monday. And good luck. Have a good weekend.